Thanks for tuning in. This week we want to cover our starting lineup and a few events that are going to go on here as we near the start of the season. Starting off at 125 pounds, the two guys that are leading the charge right now, Skyler Petrie. He was a starter for a lot of last year's season. He's the likely go-ahead guy at the beginning of the season. Looks great, very dedicated, working hard. Took third at University Nationals and is looking strong. Later in the year, Ethan Lezak will come back. Ethan was a national qualifier a year before, redshirted last year, and phenomenal on the mat and looks great as well. So could expect those two to be battling for that position later in the year. At 133, the front runner, I guess, would be Stephen Polakowski. He wrestled a little bit at 25 last year for us as well. His wrestling Wells has had some good wins. There's been some rumors of Mitchell McKee being pulled out of redshirt. That is something that we've talked about. We want to maybe watch him compete a little bit at the beginning of the season before we make a decision like that, but he's no doubt a contender for the 133-pound spot. At 141, Gannon Volk will be the starter at the beginning of the year, or at least the guy that I would think has the nod at this point until our national qualifier from last year, Tommy Thorne, is back in the lineup. Tommy's phenomenal and is a strong lock at the 141-pound spot when he's back in. At 149 last year, Jake Short is moving up to 157 now. Jake looks great. He's wrestling well. Also contending at that 157-pound spot is Carson Bralsma. Bralsma's had a really good redshirt season, is getting better every day. He's somebody that I think you could expect to see some big things out of. And also coming down to 157 is Larry Early. So between the three of those guys, we should have somebody that's competing very well at that weight. At 149, skipping back down there, Freddy Strokers, the likely starter there. He's done really, really well in the room. He's young, but he's got some great skills, and we expect for him to be the filler there. Moving up to 165, Brandon Kingsley, who was a starter last year at 157, is going up to the 165-pound spot. He should hold the reins down there until Crone is back at spring semester, and he has an opportunity to compete for that position. At 174 pounds, we have junior Nick Wanzak, who's last year's national qualifier. Nick has had some big wins last year. He looks great. The big thing with Nick, just keep focused on his offense and the things that he can control, and he's out capable of doing very, very well this year for us. So at 184 pounds, we have two guys that are kind of leading the charge there. Last year's starter, Chris Farr, and freshman Bobby Steveson. Steveson has some really good skills and has competed well, so those two guys will be the guys battling for that position. And then rolling up our last two weights, we have Brett Farr, senior, 197-pound All-American, third in the country last year. He's one of our captains. We expect big things out of him. Our other captain, two-time All-American heavyweight, Michael Krales. Both those guys were academic All-Americans and are great leaders for this team, so we're excited that those guys will wrap up the lineup for us. Other events that are going on that are important to note, Brett Farr has been invited to the All-Star event on November 5th. That's the same weekend of our first Open, which is at the Daktronics down in Brookings, South Dakota. So if you get a chance, get down there and cheer those guys on. Our entire team will be down there competing at that Open. We have our coaches clinic next weekend on Friday for any high school coaches or fans that would like to attend that. That's a big event for us. The following Saturday, October 29th, we'll have our wrestle off. We'll have the guys weigh in at 10 a.m. They'll wrestle at 11. Each guy should get at least 3 matches. And it's a good event for the guys where we get them close down to weight, and then we make them go out and compete and give them a little bit of a shock to kind of give them that feel before they compete in their first Open. Other than that, the only other things to note is Hall of Fame weekend here. We have Jared Lawrence, who's being inducted into the University of Minnesota Hall of Fame. He was a national champ, 4-time All-American for us. Also Pat New, who was a national champ for the University of Minnesota back in the day. So congrats to those two, and congrats to the Greco Hall of Fame going on Saturday as well. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you around the corner.